Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today, I will be giving a small talk about how you can invest your motivation as a UX researcher and think about your career goals, aspirations. What would you like to do in your career? So, before we begin, as usual, none of the opinions here are only mine, and it does not represent any of the companies that I will be talking today, like Quar, Freeletics, IBM, any affiliates or employees. So this is like a small disclaimer, I'd say. And in this presentation, I will start giving a small introduction about myself. I will talk about some of my experience in design research in academia, my UX research, being a UX researcher in an innovation center, so more or less like a innovation hub or consulting. I will then move us to what does it mean to be a user researcher in B2C startup and B2B corporate. And finally, I will explore some mind map that I created for us to have in this call. So I'm Mert. I'm from Turkey. I'm originally Turkish. Since 2022, I'm living in Germany, and now I'm in Stuttgart. And if we look out my experience a little bit, I graduated from Middle East Technical University in Turkey with a Bachelor of Industrial Design. And I was moved to be a PhD student, UX researcher, and product designer at Quar. So it was a Koç University. And then I was also employed under the university's innovation center. And then at 2022, I moved to Freeletics, B2C startup as a user researcher. And then I also worked as a product designer. And since 2023, I'm a user researcher at IBM. So today's talk will be more reflective, just as a format. So I will talk about the opportunities I had, unique experiences I felt, and the challenges I faced during my work in different areas, different sectors as a user researcher, UX researcher, design researcher, and then how my career path of a researcher shaped my motivation or helped me to navigate what do I do, and how this can be maybe translated to you or anyone who is interested in becoming a researcher or pursuing a career as a researcher. So at the end of the talk, it won't be about, oh, startup was better, don't do this, do that, or it won't be like, oh yes, definitely go be a researcher here, or don't be that. But it will be more like a conversation and start thinking about how can you structure your thoughts and continuously reflect on your career to help get motivated for new things in your life. Before we begin, so this is more or less the mind map I wanted to share so we can walk through together. But as I said, imagine that I will be talking about opportunities, unique experiences, and challenges. So think about what opportunities you are having in your current job or the job that you want. What do you see as an opportunity? How do they resonate with your wishes and unique experiences? For example, what are the events and situations that you observed or lived solely for you, not generalizing a context? And what was your takeaway from that? What would you pay attention next time? And finally, think about the challenges that you are facing in your work, in your current area as a researcher. So what have you experienced until now? Do you have control or ownership over them? What would you wish to change in the future? So something like that. And then you can see all the different sectors and everything that you can do. And you can always add more columns or rows to add more sector or different areas that you want to reflect. But let's see how we feel this together with my career and how you can navigate next. Beginning with the Koç University, after I graduated my bachelor's degree, I moved to Koç University as a design researcher. So I jumped into academia and start working on publications, research, learning research methods. What is a qualitative research? What is a quantitative research? What is an ethnographic study? What is a field testing, usability studies? So I gained all those knowledge and start applying them through the academic work that I would be doing. There, I had the unique opportunity to learn the best research methodologies, as I mentioned, from the academic courses, which you will see, for example, what is a thematic analysis? Well, how can you analyze things in different stages, or what is the best analysis method for a data that you gathered? And it also gave me a perspective on formulating the problem. So that you gain the skill of, okay, there is something there. How can I formulate this as a problem so I can take action or package it up and publish? And the last opportunity I had was getting the chance to contribute to science and scientific knowledge generation through developing actually my own point of view. So I had the chance to say how behavioral theories work and what can be interesting as for example, behavior change. So these are all the things I had as an opportunity being a researcher in academia. And what I mean by developing your own point of view and problem formulation, you would have the publications to see how people are controlling their time, for example, or how we can motivate people to drink more water. So you formulate the problem saying people are not drinking enough water and we want to solve that, or we want to approach that. Or you can completely think about speculative design, saying how children technologies can be designed in 2077. So these are all the publications I had with this unique opportunity, and this all requires your academic knowledge. But moving with the unique experiences, I think I faced that I had to conduct very rigorous and multiple rounds of data analysis. And then I needed to understand why, how design research emerged and turned into a profession. So I had all that background, what was there. And one of the key things I learned that whatever you want to do in academia, you always think about originality, relevancy, and how timely it is. So these are the three core criteria that would take you to a great publication or great success in academia. At least that's how I felt. But moving with the challenge, get ready for subjective evaluation of your work. What I mean by that, prepare receiving abstract and thought level feedback. For example, one of the publications we had this review. One serious issue is that 8 semi-structured interviews are, just a second. Is there anything missing? Oh, cover slide. Why do you see the cover slide? Oh no. Now it works. Okay, maybe. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me, Swapna. But let me give a quick recap again for the slides, and maybe I don't go to full screen, but move it that way, if that works better. So yes, I'm Mert. I mentioned about my experience. I said it will be a reflective talk, and it won't be about do this, do that, as I mentioned, and the mind map to structure your thoughts. So this was the opportunity template that I was talking. Sorry for the hiccup before. It was working, but this is how you can navigate your career through this kind of template. What are the opportunities, experiences, and challenges you are facing? And as I said, I started with Koç University, where I had design research in academia to learn the best research methodologies. And as I mentioned, I developed problem formulation skills and got the chance to contribute to science and scientific knowledge generation with my own point of view, where I was mentioning some publications that might be interesting that you want to further pursue. Then I said the unique experiences. I had to conduct rigorous and multiple rounds of data analysis and understand how design research emerged and turned into a profession, and framing your work under originality, relevancy, and how timely it is. So I hope this is better now. If everyone can see the slides, let me quickly check. Yes, it should be fine, I think. So as I said, get ready for subjective evaluation of your work and prepare receiving abstract and thought level feedback. Where I was telling you one issue that we had with our publication is that even what you submit is not enough. Say 8 interviews were perceived as too little or not enough to get a successful outcome. And catching up, be ready to plan for long work cycles that will be submitted maybe even yearly. So plan ahead. that was the challenge I had in academia. And as you can see, this is how I filled the academia column for myself in this template. Then I moved working more on the innovation center. This was more or less my work setup, where I was working as a researcher and product designer around all those things. Second. Yeah. And the unique opportunity I had here is that you get to work with a variety of projects. So you don't get bias from research over time. If you start thinking about one topic, you keep getting deep dive into that topic. So what I mean by diversity of the projects, I worked on a topic during the pandemic, which did like a benchmark analysis, how we can develop a rapid COVID test product, or preparing a research booklet for an education package, or designing a water bottle that would motivate people to drink more water in their daily life. So these were all the things that required research. The clients were coming up and we were designing for them. And that created the opportunity of getting exposed to a feeling of exploration through generative research. So we generated lots of new information, and it was really inspiring for me. But when I think about the unique experiences, I really had an integrated work environment with prototyping facilities. So it wasn't only conducting some research interviews or studies and then letting the package go, but I was also able to prototype or test things out, and which also gives you a high ownership of the project from the beginning to the end. And when I think about the challenge now, going back, I had the desire to see the insights taken into action and track their impact in the business environment. So I really wanted to see what happens after I deliver the package to a client or someone. So that was what I wanted to have. And then get ready, project stakeholders are not always onboarded with the best research method. So you get a topic, but then client has something very sharp in their mind. For example, saying, oh, we want you to the usability study for this product. And then you don't always get to ask why. How did you decide this usability study is the best that would work? So that would be something to keep in mind. As you can see, now I also filled the innovation center piece here. Moving on, then I had a chance to work at a B2C startup, Freeletics, which is located in Munich, and they are a fitness company, digital fitness company, and we were working on a product called Stadium, where we had 1 year of experience with 3 years of knowledge. So it was really packed, and my daily work consisted of doing lots of interviews and lots of analysis about how people use the product, what are the strategic directions that we should invest, what are the things we should be doing there to make the product successful. And the opportunities I had, first of all, you get a visible and direct impact the product through the data that you are generating. So you conduct a study, you immediately see the results. And what I mean is that almost in a week or 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks, you see how it behaves or how it affects the people. The second opportunity that I had is a chance for exploring different methods depending on the business needs. For example, we conducted a diary study 4 weeks with 6 participants to understand how in context the product can be used or how they are using and what are the problems they are facing. So it really gives you a playground of, can I try this? Can I try that? Would that fit into the direction that the company is going? And most of the time, the answer is yes. So I was really lucky to have that experience, which I see, for example, some researchers, they never get the chance to do a diary study because it's never needed. But then I again think about the unique practices that I was having, is that, first of all, providing like a rapid research outcome in time-bounded development environments. So it's great for building your portfolio, at least it was for me, because as I mentioned, you work 1 year or 2 years with a 5 years or 6 years of package. So you achieve a lot in a very fast-paced environment. At least that was for me back then. And then company-wide stakeholders are interested in your sessions, outputs, planning. We had our CEO observing some sessions or joining some of the research sessions. So it's a really direct contact of who is using your output from the research that you gather or things around that. And when I think about the challenge now, I think one of the challenge I faced, that insights are regulated so fast and sometimes it can become obsolete faster. So you generate something, before that is taken into action, you are generating something else. So like catching up all those things, or they are already gone, is a different thing than academia or the innovation center, because it's really fast paced and you need to be very fast. And sometimes documentation can be a secondary priority in certain cases. So as you can see in this screenshot, we attempted to document everything nicely, or creating like an archive or insights or the knowledge that we generated through the studies. But it was a challenge for me because everything is moving really fast and sometimes you lose that notion of documenting and making it proper. So I reflected on how I did it in B2C startup experience. So as you can see, things are slowly getting fit into the columns, and you can see what are the things that I haven't experienced yet. So I will move on to my last experience and then start explaining how you can use this template for your own benefit. So my last work that I am having right now is being a user researcher in a B2B corporate environment, which is IBM. And since 10 months, almost 10 months now, I've been working with IBM, and I would like to talk about some opportunities I observed until now. The first thing that came up to my mind when I was preparing this is that it's really easy to get connected with a community of researchers it's great to find mentors and collaborators. So there are tons of people with so many levels of experience, so many diverse backgrounds, with so many great things that they are doing. So it really gives you ready plate, and including, for example, giving this presentation. So I got notified by Designlab community through one of my colleagues in the company, which he referred, and then I was here. And you can definitely see like how almost all the tools available for you and your work. This is like a video snapshot. I took it from IBM Design's website, design research website, but you don't have to invent the wheel or think about the study. Almost everything is there. What are the best practices to recruit? What are the best practices to ask right questions, structure the sessions? So all those knowledge from so many years of experience is compiled and it's available for you. So that was the opportunity I felt. And thinking about the unique practices, I think I mentioned this even at the beginning: privacy, privacy, privacy. Be very careful about the data security, what you are sharing, who you are sharing, how much you are sharing. Make sure everything is properly documented, confidential for different stakeholders, different parties. So you really need to advocate time and dedicate some of your energy to make this right, because I am working on a highly complex, highly confidential domain in my work. The second thing I saw is that clients are really the keystone for success. So what do I mean by that? In B2C, for example, it was a different setup to recruit participants for your studies, to find someone. Maybe you send out to your connections, or to some third-party tools to recruit some people to conduct some studies. But here, the domain is complex, the clients are key, so you have to find the right person to talk, and there aren't millions of those. There are like a handful of very valuable people that you need to reach out and ask. At least in my work, that is currently the situation. And you would learn a lot from the clients and their experience. So looking back, the other experiences I had, it's quite different. So you go for a session, they share their knowledge, you share what you know. So it's not like a one way of communication, but you really get to see how are their current practices, what are they doing right now, or how they are doing things. And the challenge I am facing, or the challenge that I wanted to reflect, is that planning and alignments might be longer than you expect. So all the things I shared, for example, so far, I think this is the most overlapping with academia, because you plan your submission yearly, for example, and like not yearly maybe for for the planning, but definitely it takes some time and effort to align between different stakeholders and different people, to make sure you are doing the right methodology, right work that is expected. And it's a highly complex domain knowledge that took me a lot of constant learning curve, and it's still taking, like, I'm still learning a lot. There is no, I think, certain endpoint saying, yes, now I know I can continue. But for example, for me in B2C, it was more convenient because you talk about fitness. Of course, there is tons of things to learn, but fitness is daily part of people's lives. So you can moderate, or you can run the sessions or your studies or your research slightly easier than the B2B corporate that I am having at the moment. And as you can see, now this is more or less what I have in my career in the template that I provided. So I would like to show you how you can use this for your own benefit, and the presentation with an open QA session. So I started thinking about the challenges in the academia, and I was more like, okay, do I really want subjective evaluation throughout my career, because you are getting evaluated by 3 experts in their field whether the publication should go or not? So I start thinking, do I want to challenge, or do I want to move to another carousel, or like, what do I want to do? And there I decided to invest on the unique experiences in the innovation center that I was having at the same time. So I start thinking about, okay, this is much better. I really like the having availability for like prototyping, having ownership of the projects. But then I was thinking, I want my insights, or I want my data or my research to see the result, like taken into action, and see how it goes, like what kind of impact it's creating on the business side. So therefore, for example, I moved to B2C startup, Freeletics, and I exploited the opportunities as much as I can for myself. For example, got a visible impact, built up my portfolio for many projects that we had there. As I said, like having this trial and error was really something that opened up my eye. But then I was again start thinking about the challenge. So it's going too fast. So I'm generating knowledge, I'm creating something, it's taken into consideration, but then like it misses some steps in my head. It was too fast. So that's why I ended up, for example, right now with a B2B corporate experience at IBM. And now, for example, I'm having the opportunity to get connected with people, and having all those tools really helped me to do my job at the fastest level. So this is really something I enjoy, and I'm at this stage. So overall, what I wanted to say throughout my career is that sometimes I made the decisions conscious, sometimes I made the decisions unconscious, but this is more or less how I navigated my motivation to next things. And now I would like to show a little bit how you can use this template, and I'm more than happy to share the mind map, the table with you after the presentation, so you can also use it on yourself. But basically, think about the opportunities that you are having right now, or you want to have. Do you want to benefit from them more, or do you want to amplify the unique experiences that you are having? So what would you like to do? Do you want to tackle the challenges that you are facing to create maybe a success story out of your work, or do you want to move away from them, or focus on the opportunities that you are having, for example? Do you want to move from one space to another one? For me, for example, mostly I shared that I moved from space to space, but maybe not everybody wants that. So do you want to explore an area more, so you can go deep dive into a challenge and try to solve it, or dig in and say, yes, I'm proud that I created this impact to the challenge I was facing? Or you can say, I want to move away from that and explore something else, somewhere else. Or do you want to add another set of questions, which is completely fine. Here, what I'm sharing is completely my own thought and my opinion of how I structure my mind as a researcher. And you can think about, okay, I maybe you are not interested in opportunities, but you are interested in impact you are creating. So you can create a role of impact and you can start reflecting, what is the impact I'm creating? Am I creating the things I want, or achieving the things I want, or not? And again, you can use it, how you can move from one carousel to another one. Or simply, would you create a new sector for yourself? For example, I've never experienced freelance, being a UX researcher as a freelancer, so I don't know what opportunities or challenges would wait me there. Or as I mentioned in the template, I never faced, for example, if we look at mine, B2C corporate experience or B2B startup experience, I never had that so far. So I really don't know how things are there. So it also gives you a good window to look at what are the things you have, what are the things you don't have. But that being said, I think the takeaway from my talk is that start thinking about what are you doing. At least for me, this was the case. I start reflecting what I am doing, what are the things I'm proud of, what are the things I want to put here in a presentation, for example, and then reflect how I'm making the decisions. And it's not, of course, it's not the final thing. You can always have a different style, different vibe, but I think the takeaway for me, and I hope it was helpful for you too, is that what do you think about yourself in your career? Like, what do you do? What do you want to do? What do you regret doing it? And you can structure that in your mind and put it here and see where it goes. But that being said, thank you very much. Sorry for the slides hiccup, but I hope this was at least better. And hope to get any feedback or any questions that we can open up the conversation for all of us. Feel free to connect with me. I can reach out to Crystal from Designlab, and definitely feel free to reach me out. I'm more than happy to help or talk more about these.